Hello, Aldwyn, Altuney here. It is very exciting who we're chatting to tonight and what we're chatting about. We actually have two people here with us from the amazing Soweto's Mzansi Youth Choir. Now, if you haven't heard of these guys, you may have heard of Soweto. You've probably heard of people like Beyonc and Shakira. Well, these guys have performed with these amazing superstars. They've been on The Voice South Africa over a 2-year period. They've been going for 18 years in South Africa, and you may have heard some of their angelic sounds. Absolutely phenomenal group. And who we have here in the studio live from South Africa today is we have Alfred Phakathi, who is the choreographer and artistic director. On the left here we have him, and we also have Jannie, and Jannie's surname is Zaaiman, and he is the founder and director of the Mzansi Youth Choir. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Aldwyn. Thank you so much. It's an honor for us, to be interviewed by you. Thank you so much for having us into your platform.
Thank you so much, Aldwyn, and greetings from South Africa to all our friends down there in Australia.
Wonderful to have you with us today. Thank you so much for making the time, and thank you to our lovely friend Lynn Santa who connected us. I'm sure Lynn is watching this right now. And if you are watching this now from anywhere in the world, you will be able to make comments through this live stream if you're watching it on Facebook or on YouTube on the Media Queen TV channel. So as your comments come through, if you have any questions, anything you want to add, we can actually add you to the stream, add your comments up on the screen. So we really love this to be an interactive session today. Now, Jannie, as the founder of the Mzansi Youth Choir, what was it that inspired you to start this group?
Well, just after the turn of the century, when me and my wife was at home one night and decided to go out for dinner. I bought her a new car, actually. And the moment we reversed from on the garage path, we were carjacked by 6 young guys, and the car was gone. So that was a very, very traumatic experience for me, my wife, and my 2 children. And afterwards, we said to ourselves, but how did this happen and why did this happen? We then decided that you can either be very angry about what happened, or you can do and make something and make a contribution to change the lives of these youngsters that do things like this. At that stage, I knew a number of principals in the surrounding townships. We went to them. Our children sang in youth choirs, and we know all the wonderful, wonderful experiences that I have, the learning discipline, learning teamwork, learning time management, and all those sort of things. And I went to these principals and I said to them, we would like to start a youth choir. So we started the youth choir in July 2003. Very, very difficult circumstances at that time. Our first performance, we had 60 choristers. We took them to a concert. Afterwards, we said to them, so where are your parents to collect you? They said, no, our parents don't have vehicles. And we said, public transport? No, public transport don't drive that time of night. So for 2 years, we delivered kids at their homes in the various townships up to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and 8 o'clock we must be at work. So it's been very, very tough. Then thereafter, sponsors came to the fore, and after 18 years, we're still here.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So in that carjacking, that's amazing that you actually survived that, right? Because a lot of people don't survive some of those experiences.
Yeah, it was tough. There were 6 guys in a red LDV, and fortunately, I think the reason why they left us and raced off was there was a security company, slowly driving up the street, and the 2 guys in the bakkie raced away, and the other 4 guys wanted to take my wife and my daughter with, but there wasn't enough space in the car, so they pulled them out, and the 4 of them jumped into the car, and they went off.
Wow. So that was obviously a major turning point for you. And
absolutely.
And this compassion and what you've done for the kids is phenomenal. So can you explain a bit about, what are the sort of age ranges of the people in the choir? Where did you find the people in the choir? Can you give us a bit of a description of what the group is like?
Yeah. It is just an amazing number of kids. Over the past 18 years, close to 600 kids passed our hands. I can tell you the most amazing stories about the difficulties that many of them face. We have a situation, for example, where 35% of the choristers live with single mothers. 13% of them have no parents. And of those who finish school, about 35% of them are unemployed. So it's a difficult environment. But to see these kids and how Alfred and the rest of the team work with them. And today you live in a shack, tomorrow you're on an international stage like you own the stage. It is just such an honor to work with these kids.
Wow, amazing. I've heard some of the stories. I have some friends here in South Africa who actually escaped South Africa because they were scared for their life, and they were sharing some of the stories. And, it's really obviously been really hard times in South Africa, with apartheid and with all the craziness of the racism and things that have happened there. I mean, I can only imagine what it's been like there with people struggling to survive in South Africa. And of course, you guys are on the ground floor, and it's fantastic to see you working in harmony together, despite your cultural backgrounds. I mean, how we're born, the color we're born, we have no control over this as human beings, right? And we are all one. We are one humanity. And, the sooner that we get that we are all one culture, one people, regardless of our colors, etc., the sooner we will have world peace, right? And by the look of it, from what you guys are doing, you are like mascots for world peace, right? You are coming together as a community, and you're helping to bridge that gap for people. And part of the thing I think with racism, and I've copped it here in Australia, being born as a first generation Australian. I have Greek, Turkish, Ukrainian background in Australia, and it's interesting. Racism comes in many different forms, and even though my skin is fairly fair, right, I copped racism here in Australia and never felt growing up that I actually belonged in Australia because I had European heritage. And this sort of cultural fanaticism that can happen right across the world, is it's a real shame, because, when people start understand people from other cultures, there's so much we can learn from the different cultural, heritage, etc. So what is it like now on the ground in South Africa? Is it really as dangerous as people say, or are things improving over there?
Yeah, it's kind of finding a balance between the two, But to be honest, actually, we're speaking about this some few days ago, to say, on the lower ground is not as much as, people see on a higher ground. On a lower ground, you'll find that any race, we work together, we smile together, we joke together, we walk together, we share our food together. But when it comes to politically, on the political side of it, what you hear from the medias and other things, it's totally different, to be honest to you, and everybody will get a sense most of the time from what they hear from, from social medias or from the media. But on the ground, you hardly experience things like that. You can meet any race on the street, we smile to each other, we work together, and we respect each other. So if you analyze everything, I think it's only, you experience that more on a higher level from the, from the higher grounds, yes.
Right. Or possibly, desperation. I guess if people are struggling to eat, I guess there'd be robberies with that kind of thing happening. Because I guess in South Africa, there's no, government payouts like we have in Australia. We have, Centrelink, and we have, for people that are struggling, the government gives people money here in Australia. And so, yet we still have homeless people because we have, mental illness and other things that happen here. So I'd imagine in South Africa, there's probably no government support like that, is there?
We do get some government support, but, anything is not much, but it's better than getting nothing. Most of the people that are employed, they do get a support a little bit from the government, but the money is not enough at the end of the day to them. We still have a lot of people that are living in very difficult situations or conditions, but that's the reason why actually I've been with Mzansi Youth Choir for 10 years. I joined the Mzansi Youth Choir in 2010. This year is my 11th year. The reason why I stayed long was because of the reason why they started the choir. I'm all about changing. I'm all about having an impact, even if it can be one person that you can impact and change their life for better. So Mzansi Youth Choir is been born from that kind of a foundation where the aim is to change one person and make them better, like what the choir does. Although they learn about music, they learn about dancing or movement, and they meet and work with other artists around the world, but we teach them about social life skills. We teach them about basic stuff that they will need for them to be better people in our society. It's not only music and dance that they learn, but it's a great platform to bring all the youth and try to make a change, into their lives, into their families, and for them to get opportunities that they will never get as a South African born child or Soweto born child, in terms of privileges that other kids they will get. So Mzansi Youth Choir opens that platform and bring hopes. Actually, the most important thing is the hope that it brings to each and every individual to say, you know what, you have the potential as a youngster, as a young person in our society. And sometimes you need somebody to show you those potential, or to open the doors for you, or to help you to realize your potential. And in that way, they grow and they become better people in our society, I would say.
May I add to that, Aldwyn?
Sure.
The circumstances that some of these kids come from are just absolutely appalling. You find a situation one day, Alfred this Alfred works very hard when it comes to choreography. These poor kids have to be extremely fit.
Right.
And one of the kids collapsed. And when we asked him, "But didn't you eat today?" And you know what his response was? "It wasn't my turn to eat today."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, to add on that, I think he said there are 11 in the family, so they have 10 to eat. Like Monday, a group or 3 or 6 they will eat is their day. Then the following day, other people or other family members will eat. So that's why he collapsed. And what Mzansi Youth Choir did was that, which was great actually, to say, you know what, we have kids coming from different backgrounds. It will be proper that at least we offer a meal for them before we start to work, or in the middle of our rehearsal, so that we don't have the same incident again, Yeah, that's how tough it is.
Wow. So a lot of malnourished people. I mean, there's something in Australia that, a lot of people are starting to get into intermittent fasting, what they call, and they say that you'll actually live longer if you have certain days that you don't eat, right? So this is actually a phenomena here in Australia. A lot of people are starting to do this now. They're maybe are doing water fasts, or they're doing they'll have one day a month or 7 days a month where they'll just fast and just have water and juices. But I know that even when people do these fasting regimes, they have to be incredibly careful how they do it, because you have to ease your way into it, and you have to make sure you eat the right types of food. So the days that these people are eating, if they're not eating nourishing food, even on the days that they're eating, then it's absolutely understandable that they would collapse and not have the energy to keep going. And that's a whole other story. So I'm really sorry to hear that. However, it's amazing what you are doing to help these children. And I remember years ago, it was the early 2000s, I was a journalist for the Gold Coast Sun here, and the Soweto Gospel Choir came out to Australia. In fact, they performed here at the Gold Coast Arts Centre. Back then it was called the Gold Coast Arts Centre. Now they call it Hotter. And I wrote a story about them, and I remember seeing them live, and my goodness, the atmosphere, the spirit, the heart of the Soweto Gospel Choir was absolutely extraordinary. And, you know, I'd love to know, do you know the people from the Soweto Gospel Choir? There's similarities with what you do. Can you explain? Because they're obviously quite famous, right, worldwide. And a lot of people haven't heard of you guys, even though you've performed with some amazing, huge names out there. So what's the link?
I know we know each other. We all coming from the same township. They are called Soweto Gospel Choir. Our kids are coming from Soweto as well. Most of our kids is youth from the age of 14 to the age of 24, meaning that most of them are still at school and have, you know, it's not at school. You know, they more focus on the gospel, I would say. But in terms of the Mzansi Youth Choir, we thought we are so talented. We can do anything that anybody can do wherever in the world, can be in China, Hong Kong, Maputo, whatever. We are not going to limit ourselves. We are going to do all genres. We can sing from hip hop to, you know, soul, to African music, to pop. So we do almost everything as well, and in different languages as well. You know, we recently were asked to do a song in, I think it was in Chinese, and we also did a song in French or Italian, and recently, and 2 years ago, we collaborated with an artist called Jonathan Reisel from from Israel. So we did a song in Jews, or you know, so in Jewish language, and so we do every type of music. And what is nice is the energy of the youngsters that we've got, because we didn't want to focus only on music. So we thought music, especially when we do live performances, we believe that the sound and what people hear and see should connect together. So we try to match what the kids are singing as well as the choreography, that both of it matches. And when we entertain the eye, we're supposed to entertain the ear at the same time. So we try by almost that we balance both of that, you know, and we're hoping that people from Australia will know about us very soon. You know, we do tours, like we've been to Canada, we've been to Russia, we've been to Denmark, Turkey, you know, and it is our wish to come to Australia as well, so that the Australian can really experience the young and vibrant energy of Mzansi Youth Choir. And people, wherever we perform internationally, you know, they don't forget our people. You will never go to sleep for the next month. You will be thinking about what we have injected in you. You will feel the African spirit. So that's what we have. And we're hoping that maybe one day there will be a promoter, you know, in Australia that, you know, can invite us there and stay and have a season or a tour in Australia, so that you in Australia can experience, you know, the Mzansi Youth Choir as well, like Soweto Gospel Choir.
What I can add to that is we even got a standing ovation in the Royal Albert Hall.
Wow. Fantastic. That is great. Well, we would love to see you here in Australia. And I'm sure if our mutual friend Lynn Santa has anything to do with it, she can move mountains, that lady. So I'm sure that, you know, we can rustle off some magic and get you out here somehow, I'm sure. And talking of Lynn, who, of course, is doing the Land of the Free movie, she says hello on here. We've got Deborah saying, she's saying, Lynn and I rock. Thank you, Deborah. Deborah's saying, thank you for the opportunity. My pleasure. And Farah's sending some love as well. So who else is watching this? Where are you coming to us from right now? And do you have any questions for Alfred or Jannie here from Mzansi Youth Choir? Now, I have a question for you. Now, what was it like working with, let's start with Beyonce first, and then I'd love to hear about Shakira as well after this. What was Beyonce like? And how did you come to it?
Yeah, before we answer that, I just want to shout out to Lynn. Thank you so much, and as well as to Deborah Pasofen. I respect them so much, and thank you. Actually, it's because of the two of these beautiful ladies that today we are sitting here talking, you know. And Deborah has done a fantastic job. She's the one actually that took me to Australia. I lived there for 6 months, and Lynn connected you with us. And Lynn, thank you so much, and we're hoping that our relationship will grow, further for this. Then coming to your question about excitement, I think, from the kids. The first time we heard that we're going to collaborate with Beyonce, everybody was excited. She's a superstar. The whole entire world knows. What an opportunity and what a platform for us. And we said to ourselves, we'll never take this for granted. So it was fantastic. The kids were rehearsed with her in the same room, being closer to her like that. And on the day of the performance, they called everybody from the bodyguards, securities, dancers, and us. We formed a circle with Beyonce. And there was a prayer before we go on stage. I said, wow, actually, this is what we do. This is the culture that we do as well, so that we can all come together and have one spirit because we're going to perform on the same stage. Then the performance was magical. Just to mention, Beyonce had guest artists that she sang with. And if you know all Beyonce's songs, she performed almost all of her hits there. But there is one song, which was Hello, that she agreed that it can be changed. We sang that song in a language called Zulu, and she allows that. Normally she doesn't, because that's her original song. How can we change their song? But she allowed us to change that. And that moment was magic. And I have to mention that people were in tears. The husband was in tears, standing by the wings. Her mother, when we sang that Zulu part of Hello, then before she takes over and we sang together, all of us. So that experience it's an experience that no one can take. Even talking about it, I'm getting goosebumps because it was kind of magical. Then when I look at the people, the guests were like crying. It's like they've recognized this is a Hello, but we sang it in Zulu, different melody and different anything from the original, but people were like crying tears. They couldn't believe it. Even herself, if you watch the video, you could feel her that there was something getting into her. So that moment, I will never forget. It was a great experience. Yeah.
Wow. And where was that exactly? And how many people in the audience?
It was at a stadium called FNB Stadium. It was an event called the Global Citizen, where they had different artists from all over the world. So think about this, it was a stadium. And that stadium originally, when it takes people, when there's a soccer game, it takes plus minus 90,000 people just standing at the grandstands. But in this case, there were people grandstands, there were people on the ground. So it might be more than 100,000 people watching that.
Wow. Yeah. What an absolute buzz. And I love that song, Hello by Beyonce. It's such a beautiful song. So I can just imagine with the Zulu addition to it, that would have been absolutely extraordinary, spine-tingling stuff. Wow, what an amazing opportunity. And how did that connection actually happen for you to perform with Beyonce?
Jannie will answer that there.
Well, the Global Citizen, it was handled by Big Concerts in South Africa. And then they invited a number of artists. We also, at that same one, we sang with the bunch from Nigeria. So we had two performances in that particular one. So some of the artists said that they would like to have a choral accompaniment. And then those discussions start. And we worked with a director, a wonderful, wonderful person. And it was just amazing to have this collaboration between the various parties.
Unbelievable. And now what about Shakira? What was Shakira like? And where did you get to perform?
Oh, goodness. That one is just so bubbly. We actually, during one of our rehearsals, we presented her with exactly the same wardrobe that we have. So we gave her a set of our wardrobe. But that lady is just amazing as far as energy is concerned. And we rehearsed in a hotel with mirrors all around and so on all the time, so that she can see what the choir is doing behind her and directing us and so on. She was just spectacular.
Wow, phenomenal. And of course, you were on The Voice South Africa 2 years. You said you were on there, and you weren't actually competing, but you were on The Voice South Africa. So what years were you on The Voice, and what was that whole experience like for you?
Well, the voice, we were actually supporting some of the guest artists the 2 times that we were there. But one of our own choristers were one of the participants as well. So he made it through the blind sections, and I think he made it through 2 rounds and so on. So one of our choristers, coming from a very, very humble background, to do it through 2 live rounds was for us a major achievement as well.
Yeah, just to add on that, we were also invited to be to participate and help the contestants at South African Idols as well. And I think we brought something different there, because it was kind of the first time the people, even the judges, commented on this, seeing a choir that can move, because we're kind of still new with the choreography, things like that, or being a show choir. So we did that. Then after that, I think that also opened the doors for us to be invited into other TV competition programs.
Yes, one thing leads to another. It's a beautiful thing. And, music and dance and smiling, these are all universal languages, right? That doesn't matter what language you speak. Everyone can relate to a smile. They can relate to music, and they can relate to dance. And, these are things that people can do at home, even in lockdown, right? You can sing and dance even at home. So what has it been like over there with COVID? How has it affected you in South Africa?
Yeah, I think it's been tough for everyone, but there's one spirit that I loved about Mzansi, especially the management. Most of the choirs, they've had to shut their rehearsal doors because they can't do anything, they can't move, there is no platform. But Mzansi Youth Choir is all about innovations. It's all about finding ways that we can do something new, something fresh, and the opening or creating platforms for the choir, because we had to decide, should we close or should we do something? Then everybody went with an idea of saying, let's open our doors and think deep, what can we do? But staying with the regulations that are needed in terms of level 1, level 2, level 3, up to level 5, be compliant with that stuff. And I would say we've been blessed. We've been blessed because just a few minutes ago, I looked at what we've done since day 1 of lockdown until this moment. As I said to Jannie, wow, we've done a lot. Actually, we've done a lot, but it goes with sacrifice, because we have to think that if we are not active, this will affect the kids that we're trying to support. Because if they're staying home and there's nothing, they lose hope, they lose whatever it is. So our thinking was about them. We had to sacrifice some of us, like our salaries, or not being paid, so that the choir can run, and the kids can get what our first priority is, which is them in terms of getting a space to rehearse, although we were also rehearsing, 1.5 meters apart, doing everything, sanitizing and making sure we check temperatures of the kids, then we rehearse. But we've been blessed that there's I think everybody, in the entertainment industry, they found a platform of using visual performances of using visual performances or visual programs like yours, so we did a lot of videos, music videos. We did a lot of visual performances in studios like this as well, and we've collaborated with Jannie can join me on that. Yeah.
What we actually did, we collaborated with Ricky Kesh in India. We sent data to our choristers at their various homes so that they can record themselves and learn a number of songs. So he had asked us to participate in his concerts. Then the China Musicians Association invited us to do 2 songs for them as well, and we participated in theirs. Then China also had an international opening, and we sent them some of our video material to utilize in their choral symposium that I had. We also entered in the first World Choir Games, was supposed to be in Belgium in 2020, And the first time that I asked us to enter then virtually, and we won that competition. 128 entries, 44 countries that participated, and we won the category with accompaniment. So we're very happy about that particular one. During this period, we also virtually collaborated with Leslie Odom in America, Los Angeles, and we did a video, Little Drummer Boy, with him. We also collaborated with Yemi Alade from Nigeria. We did a video for her as well. So we were actually extremely active. And then what we did was we worked on some new soundtracks and some new music and sent the lyrics to the choristers. So at least I started to learn. And the moment lockdown became less, then we started to get together and continue performing and preparing.
Yeah, and just to add, I don't know if in Australia you know an artist by the name of, in South Africa we call her Thandeka, and her English name is PJ Powers. Most of the people, they might know her because she used to travel and tour around. We just collaborated with her recently now, a few days ago actually we're shooting a music video with her. Yeah.
And that music video, if I may add, is on social cohesion and nation building. So yes, that's going to be a fantastic project. So watch this space end of April when we release that.
Fantastic. And the competition you won, when was that? That
was in July 2020.
So just very recent, well, last year, yeah. Fantastic. Yes. Wow, great achievement. Congratulations. Beat 128 other participants. That's phenomenal. Wow, I'd love to know some of the songs that you do. So what are some of the songs you perform? Do you have any favorites?
That's a difficult question to ask somebody who deals with music, if you've got any favorite song. Personally, every song is my favorite, because I believe each song's got a story to tell. Each story's got a mood. Each song connects differently to everyone, but in terms of our repertoire, actually it's long. We've got some South African kind of songs that we do, like Obawo, it's a gospel. We've got a Midlands. We've got Sarafina medley. Those who know Sarafina, there was a musical called Sarafina, and there was a movie as well called Sarafina. So we doing a medley of that. We've got He Lives in You. It's a song from The Lion King, a musical, and we do Circle of Life as well. We've got a gospel song which is sang by a lot of choirs, and it was born at Mzansi Youth Choir. It's called Indodana. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. Most choirs internationally, they've learned it from Mzansi, and they are also competing with it around the world. And we've got Baba Yetu. It's a Swahili song as well. I think if you watched Soweto Gospel Choir, I think when they were touring Australia, they also sang that song called Baba Yetu. Then what we thought, we need to give a tribute to our legend singers like Miriam Makeba. So we did a medley of Miriam Makeba and other artists as well. Then we've got Million Dreams. There's a song that we're currently doing, which is called Million Dreams. The musical. I don't need to explain it. Yeah. Beautiful song, beautiful song, beautiful song. And then we've got a language in South Africa called Afrikaans. So we're doing an Afrikaans medley where we combine kind of most of the hits from Afrikaans community or singers, and we created music. So that, because as South Africans, we are multiracial, so we didn't want to focus only because we are a choir from Soweto, we only sing, African or traditional songs. Then we've got a song, you might know it as well, called The Climb, from Miley Cyrus, and we've put some of our spice where we've added the Zulu in it and some African feel in it. It's fantastic, and we also have a music video on it. You can just type Mzansi Youth Choir, The Climb. You will see it. We also collaborated with Vota Kalaman on that song. and he's in Australia now. If you're watching Vota, hi. Then then so we've got a lot actually. Like I'm gonna just name the big songs that people can recognize: Bohemian Rhapsody from from the Queen. Then we also do Men in the Mirror by Michael Jackson, Somebody to Love by Queen again. Raw, we're in the process of actually of working on Raw, the Raw from Katy Perry. Then Wake Me Up Before You Go. We're doing a fight song. This is my fight song, Pata Pata. Everybody can recognize Pata Pata, I think, from all over the world. Long times, it's an old song, but a lot of people, they know it. Then basically, the list is long, unfortunately, but we do that kind of music.
Yes, maybe you can mention our songbook.
Oh yes, and we also have a songbook that we did. Beautiful. I think it's the first time a songbook is done in this way, in terms of it can be bought by individuals, choirs, or anybody. So we did a songbook where we focus on South African traditional music, and we've got songs there in which are written down in a way how you write songs. At the same time, we thought some of the choirs or people, they want to know the background and how to dance to those songs. So we added a video that teaches you how to do a movement of a certain song. So you get to know about the history of the song, you get to know about the background movement of the song and the pronunciation of the song. So we've got that out online as well.
Wow. Oh, I love it. I would love to hear some of those songs. They're phenomenal. Some of those songs are absolutely epic. And the Million Dreams song, you said that was on the Greatest Showman movie, of course, with Hugh Jackman. Absolutely extraordinary movie. I've seen it 3 times. It's on a 5-star review, absolute 5-star review, 3 times. One of my favorites. Love the music in that. And we've actually got a review on Movie Review TV on Media Queen TV. There's a movie review show that I was doing there for a while with a guy called Michael, and we reviewed The Greatest Showman on there, and some of the songs on there are absolutely extraordinary. I love This Is Me as well. That's another amazing song, This Is Me, from that.
I didn't mention that song. Actually, we are also doing This Is Me.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I can't wait to hear it. I'm sure it would be absolutely spine-tingling. And so is there a minimum or maximum number of people that you can officially have in a choir?
It differs quite a lot. It depends on obviously now with COVID and social distancing, when we do performances, we limit. Normally we wouldn't like to go less than 16, but normally we go up to about 24, which we feel is a very good size. Because of the way that Alfred let them run around the stage, you need space quite a lot, but the choir normally is about 45 in total. But I think in 2019, one evening we had 3 concerts at the same time. So we had to split the choir in 3, and we had 3 live performances, which we were able to pull off successfully.
Wow, amazing. And how do you juggle dancing with singing? Because that can be a real art form in itself, right? I mean, a lot of people have trouble, singing and moving at all, let alone dancing and singing. So what's the secret to actually doing both, Alfred?
I got to be asked that question many times. And I want to say there are choreographers that firstly are not able to choreograph for singers that cannot move. For singers, naturally, it's difficult. But you have to find a way where you build both of that to balance. And working with Mzansi Youth Choir, I sat down, I said, you know what? When people sing and we expect them to move, but at the rehearsal room, we don't practice that. We don't train them for that. Then I spoke to Jannie. I said, Jannie, it will be great that we develop a warm-up exercise where while you're doing your exercises, body exercises, you are also doing the voice exercise. That will be able to train all the muscles, and your brain will be able to combine all of that together so that when you go on stage, it becomes natural like that. So then I think I've been blessed in a way that I managed to work with non-performers. When I'm saying non-dancers or non-performers, I'm talking about people that has two left legs. When I meet them for the first time, they will tell me that we cannot dance, we cannot move, we don't want to do this. Then what I will say to them, I say, raise your hand like this, point up. All of you, you're going to count with me. You're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then they do it. I say, if you can do that, you can dance. They say, no, we can't. They say, no, we can't. I said, trust me. So I think I've been placed in a way that I know how to work with non-performers and give them confidence to believe in themselves that they can do it. I get to, when we audition every year, then I get to get choristers that cannot move at all, and they don't trust themselves. But after 3 months, 2 months, they're surprised that, we can sing and we can dance at the same time. And the eldest person that I've taught, it was a white guy in another company. He's 72 years old. He's never danced before in his entire life. And he was part of the choir. And he didn't want even to participate. I said, trust me. He said, no, I cannot. I said, trust me. Then at the end, after 3 weeks, he was the one actually who was better than the rest of the choir, So This is a blessing I think I have. It's a special one that I have to work with different people and with non-dancers as well. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. It's funny. I was at an event once and I said, one of my beliefs is that I can't sing. And the person facilitating, they said, the birds can sing, you can sing.
That's true.
I thought, what's the point? The birds can sing, I can sing. So, it's a lot of it's mindset, isn't it? A lot of it's just, getting over yourself, now our beliefs, the self-sabotage that can happen, right? So
yes.
I'm curious, what is your background with dancing?
Funny enough, if I tell you my story, I've been in the arts since I was young, but visual arts, sculpturing, molding, things like that because of my uncle. Then when I grew up, I love performances. I used to sit down and watch anything that has to do with drama, dancing, singing. But when I grew up, they told me that I couldn't dance. And I had that thing in me, sometimes when you're a kid, you try to do something and they discourage you. They say you cannot dance. That discouraged me a lot. Then when I moved from my mother, and I'm from my grandmother, went to live with my mother, I was in a school and there was a group that was doing drama and dancing. I joined them. But I joined them because of the drama, not because of the dance. Then suddenly they taught me all the dance that they were doing. Then I realized I can. And that gave me a confidence. Then later on, when I finished my matric, my last year at school, I said, let me go and study drama. I went to study drama for 1 year. Then somebody told me there were auditions at another school. They're teaching dance. It's a 3-year course. Then I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go, but I said, okay, let me go. Then they took me. Then in that school is one of the toughest schools I've ever been of, I've heard of, because they will take plus minus 25 to 30 students. And all of them will go through a process of 3 months probation. They took us, within 2 weeks, we were 20. On the fourth week, we were around plus minus 5. At the end of the probation period, only 4 students left. That's how tough the school was. Then when we graduated in that school, it's called Johannesburg Dance Foundation. It's no longer there. It doesn't exist anymore now. There has never been more than 5 people graduating ever since. So I did my 3-year course there. Then I thought, what? I want to do more and learn other things. I took an extra year to do my honors with them. I was nervous afterwards that I will never get a job, to be honest to you, because I was not familiar with the industry itself. I'm coming fresh from school. I don't know if I'm going to be hired. Then there were auditions. I went to audition in Pretoria. There was a company, a ballet company there. Then they took me and my colleague. It was only the 2 of us that graduated that year. Then, because we're the only black boys, in a ballet company. Then I came back home. I said, ballet is not for me. The reason why I love ballet as a technique, but it's not creative. I'm saying it's not creative because an attitude will be an attitude, or a jump will be a jump that was created by somebody many, many years ago. I cannot change it. Once I change it, I put my creativity, it's no longer ballet. So I will be limited. I won't be able to grow to other genres. At that time, I heard that there were auditions at African Footprint. African Footprint, I think it's a show, most of the people, they might know, it toured Australia as well. I think for 6 months I lived there. And I went there to be auditions. I love the process of the auditions because it was not a one-day audition. It was for the whole week. You come and do the class, then you do whatever combination of dance with them. Then they get to know you, because I'm definitely sure if it was for one day, because I was so nervous, they were not going to take me. But there's something that the choreographer saw in me within, maybe on the third day or fourth day, then they chose they chose me. Then I stayed with Footprint. We toured all over the world with a lady called Debbie Patsofen as our manager, and did great job to mold us and build us to be who we are today. And funny enough, 2010, after Mzansi Youth Choir worked with Shakira, they realized that they need a choreographer. Then Jannie knew African Footprint. He took a phone and he called. On the other side of the phone was Deborah Patsofen. Deborah Patsofen picked up a phone. Jannie said, I'm looking for a choreographer. Deborah said, I've got the right person for you. And that was me. That's how. Yeah.
Wow. And Deborah, of course, is watching this right now. Amazing, Deborah. And Lynn is saying hello to both of you. And she says that her favorite song is The Last Minute of Land of the Free, which is her amazing documentary all about helping to end trophy hunting of endangered animals. Amazing project, Lynn. Keep an eye out for that Land of the Free movie there. We've got Mike McCabe here. He's saying, interesting, an explanation of the art of rhythm with music. Thank you, Mike. And Lynn is saying here, never believe anyone who tells you you can't do anything. Absolutely. Never believe it. Absolutely. Now, Jannie, I'm curious about your background. Have you were you in a youth choir yourself, or have you got a singing background?
Well, only school choirs at those days. But I was involved with the South African National Youth Orchestra. I'm actually, when I was in industry, we supported the South African National Youth Orchestra for many years. And when my children started to sing in youth choirs, and we see the amazing contribution that make to their personal skills development, I think that was just a logical next step. May I share one or two stories of some of these kids, where they were and where they are today?
Sure, love to hear it. Thank you.
I want to tell a story of, and we have permission, by the way, from them to share these stories with you. There was a young little girl who joined us when she was in middle school, more or less. And she doesn't know who her father was, and the mother passed on when she was 4 years old. And then the family must look after you. But the family, that's an extra mouth to feed and so on. So you have a difficult time. So she passed her school years herself. She even organized herself a bursary to go and study at TVET College, which is a higher education college. This little girl then left the house, and she went to stay in a zinc shack with her half-brother on a single bed. And then, while she was singing in the choir, and she entered the tertiary education. And after a while, she came to us and she said the girlfriend of the brother moved into the shack, and the cousin from the other province and his girlfriend moved into a single-room shack. And it really affects her studies. And we said, no, but that cannot be. So we asked her to look for a safer room that we can rent for her. So we rented a room for her. And amongst a number of colleagues, we collected furniture for her. Her marks jumped from between 50 and 60% to between 80 and 90%.
Wow.
That little girl completed her studies. We assisted her to get a driver's license. Then she started to work at a marketing company. And after a year, she called me one day and she said, I'll be very proud of her. I said, what did you do? She said, I saved 8,000 Rand. She said, I said, wow, that's great. She said, but I spend it. I said, okay, that's not so great. What did you do? I put a tombstone on my mother's grave. And the mother passed on when she was 4 years old. That little lady is now married. She's got twin daughters. She's manager of a branch looking after medical, tests and so on for miners before they go to the mines. She said to me the other day that she bought 2 chairs in a beauty salon. She appointed somebody to run those 2 chairs for her. The other day she called me. She said, "Now I bought a Nissan Lavina with 3 rows of seats, and I appointed somebody to take children to school and back." And this is somebody that because she passed through the choir, everything that she learned there, the small door that you open for somebody, and look where she's today. The second one I just want to mention to you is he's just an amazing person. His mother passed on when he was also in middle school, and he had this beautiful voice. And one of our maestros in South Africa, Richard Koch, assisted him to get a bursary at Northwest University after he completed his term with us. He went to university. In the end of his studies, musical studies, he got a bursary to go to Germany to study opera. And today he's a permanent employee at the Berlin Opera. And if you look at the way that, and we can mention so many of these examples. And I think this is what keeps me and Alfred and the team going, to see how these kids, you just open a door for them a little bit, and they grab that opportunity and they just become massive success stories.
Wow, it's just so beautiful. It's very, very touching. And that's just 2 out of thousands. Wow, extraordinary. In 18 years, what an amazing effort. And how do you actually fund the choir? Like, is it challenging to do this for you financially? Are you funded by the government, or how do you fund yourself?
Well, we do have, we obviously make submissions to sponsors for specific projects. We have a number of entities that support us. Obviously, when we had basically a full performance book when COVID struck, and those performances were cancelled, and in many cases we had to repay the deposits that they made. Others said we can keep the deposit, and after COVID we will have then those particular concerts. So during COVID, I think the management team also had to put their hands deep in their own pockets to keep the choir going, because it's so important to us. To keep our name out there and to keep the spirit amongst the choristers going, that we still care for them and that we want them to feel that there's still something to be there. I mean, if you look at the comments that the choristers give us, sometimes we ask them, what does this choir mean to you? And one chorister in one of the last surveys that we did said, this choir means everything to me because it's the only thing I have. And these things are things that if everybody in every country, in the little sphere that they can make a contribution, do make that contribution, we can change the world in just no time. And this is a little contribution that we try to make. Fortunately, some of the sponsors are still with us, but we also have a project which we call Adopt a Chorister, for example, where people can, and there's then a personal communication and so on. But then obviously performance fees on performances that are slowly starting to open up again.
Yeah, because just to add on that, we kind of different like most of the social choirs, in South Africa, because we do everything for the kids from A to Z. I'll just make a comparison. Like some of the choirs, if you're going to join, you've got to pay for a joining fee. Then in regards to the costumes, you have to pay a certain amount for the costumes. And if they travel locally or international, they've got to pop up money for transportation, and some of them, their parents have to give them money for food. But with Mzansi Youth Choir, we don't. The only thing that we require is your voice. We audition you, then you pay nothing from A to Z. To pay nothing. The choir does everything, and I would say that's a big thank to Jannie, as well also to our sponsors that are supporting us, because we are able to to sustain ourselves a little bit, and also to the corporate companies that normally hires us so that we can get a little bit that can sustain us and push us to be able to do what we can do, for the choristers.
Extraordinary. Well, they say there's no greater purpose than being of service. And, I do believe, particularly at this time during COVID, they say love and gratitude are the highest vibrations we will feel as human beings. And I actually have my little love heart here that I often put out on my interviews and my Zoom calls to spread the love. And that's clearly what you're doing at the Mzansi Youth Choir. That is absolutely extraordinary, that you are absolutely transforming lives for some people that are destitute, that are not eating because of desperate family situations. It's extraordinary what you are doing, helping them through their studies, helping to transform the lives that you are through voice, through dancing, through celebrating life, the energy of life. It's just so moving to hear what you are doing there. And we've got a few more.
Sorry to cut you. Talking about life as well, I think when you're talking about that, you also brought another person as well, which I didn't get a time to speak about her earlier on, Lynn. She's doing some amazing stuff. What she is doing with our nature and our wildlife animals, I think it also connects with us. When we heard that we're doing this kind of a project, and the main reason is to save the animal life. You understand? The main reason is the love of the animals. We jumped into this project to say, what, this is something that we also need to do. As much as we try to give love to human beings, let's give life to our nature as well, and which is very, very important. And I was thinking about this when I was driving. That 1 minute song that we did for her project, it means a lot to us. And when we approach, actually, they ask us if we have any material that will fit the footage. But my first thought, I said, we need to record and have the original of song to fit that, and everything tend to be the way we wanted it. And I just want to say big up to Lynn with the project that she does and saving the animals. We are with her side by side, and we support her when we support everything that she does, because all we do as Mzansi Youth Choir is to care. It doesn't matter what, but we care for everything. Thanks, Lynn.
Yes, all beings, human beings, animal beings. That's awesome. Lynn is saying, awesome, great, inspiring story, guys. She was raving about you guys. She said, I have to interview you. That's what she said to me. And Lynn and I, we've been friends for 20 odd years. And she says it means a lot to me too. She's saying it means a lot to her as well. So that's beautiful, Lynn. Extraordinary, the work that she does for animals. And I've been a massive animal advocate as well. I started a World's First Animal Action Day in 2007. I've done 14 annual events now, which Lynn has supported strongly over the years. And the year before, we did a fundraiser for Land of the Free as well. So we've also supported Land of the Free with our projects, with the Gold Coast Business Laughter Club that we set up, and also with the Animal Action events over the years. And I've interviewed Lynn many times as well, which people can see interview on Media Queen TV. If you would like to see more about the amazing Lynn Sant, or check out Land of the Free movie, of course, because this compassion and kindness, it's actually inherent in our nature. I do believe we come into the world as loving beings, and then I think what happens is people get hurt, and then what happens is hurt people, right? That's how it goes. Hurt people as they get older. People become bitter and twisted sometimes. And, if they're not able to move forward with compassion, with kindness, and realize that if someone's being nasty to you, that often it's because they're hurting in some way themselves. And so to bring compassion to situations where someone is hurting you or having a go at you, you know, it's an extraordinary thing, and it takes a lot of inner power. And one of my favorite movies of all time is actually The Power of One, which is a South African movie, of course. The Power of One, I love that movie. And, you know, it just goes to show that if we individually step up with our own love and compassion and kindness for others, it's amazing how they say if you help enough other people get what they want, you will get what you want in life, you know. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I really just acknowledge you guys for the work you do. It's extraordinary. And I would love to hear some more of your music. I don't know if we have a chance today with your production crew there. Is there any chance to hear some of your music there today on recording, or will they have to go online? What's the
I hope they can. I'm looking at them so that I can ask, is there any song of Mzansi that we can play, guys?
Yeah, I wonder if there's anything.
Yeah, they're preparing something.
They're preparing something. Fantastic. Yeah. All right, that's great, because Lynn says here, let's hear the music. Ready, please, Mr. Music. Ready, please, Mr. Music, right? I'd love to hear the music. I'd love to hear some of that, and I can't wait to see that 1 minute on the Land of the Free movie as well. Now, is there anything else you'd like to share? Any other highlights or any other amazing stories from your journey that you'd like to share?
Well, there's just one thing which I think people might find interesting, is that we are one of the choirs that do not perform with a conductor standing in front of the choir. So we empower the choristers, so the choir can sing about 30 songs non-stop with all the massive choreography that Alfred instilled with them without a conductor standing in front of them. So because we believe it is about the choristers, it's not about us, the rest of us. And I think that's also extremely empowering to them to really show the world what they can do.
No, definitely. I think they are trained well, the kids, because if you're coming from a choir background, it's difficult all the time. You know, the choristers, they want to depend or get directions from their conductor, especially those songs that they don't have, you know, an instrument or something that accompanying them for the rhythm. But our kids, they are trained very well. They can start any song on a right key without having a note or piano saying, this is the key. And they can also keep together as one without any person conducting them in front of them. So we, in that sense, we are totally unique if we speak about the choir industry or choir world or choir family. We're totally different, yeah.
But how on earth I remember all Alfred's moves is beyond all of us.
Yeah, that's like
because it's not easy. It's not easy. I think that's the blessing that Mzansi Youth Choir did. When they decided to look for a choreographer, they didn't look for someone who's coming from the choir background. That pays an advantage, because when I met the kids, I don't know anything about the choirs. You know, I didn't know anything about the choirs. So I applied my dancing, you know, experience that I did. And it was a challenge to them, because they were looking at me like this. What the hell is it teaching us? But their first performance, when they got standing ovation from corporate, you don't get standing ovation from corporate events. They were shocked. They said, actually, what you are doing or what you are teaching us has an impact. You know, then they started to love it. So we've developed that culture, because we're not doing like the normal choreography that most of the choirs will do, step together, step together, step. We move any part of the body that can move. We even choreograph the eye. You cannot believe this. I even choreograph the eye of the entire choir. If the eye is moving, we all move together, including the finger itself is being choreographed. You know, so that's make it unique and special, you know.
That's amazing. Wow. Extraordinary. I can't wait to see it. And can people see some of this? They can see a little bit on YouTube, right? You've got some videos up there.
We've got plenty, yeah. We've got plenty on YouTube. I think when you type on Google, you can even go on Google, you can go on YouTube, just type Mzansi Youth Choir. A whole lot of our music video will come out. Yeah.
Excellent. Fantastic. And of course, your website, your Facebook page has got thousands of people on there as well. I think over 40,000 people on your Facebook page as well. So lots of support so people can connect that way. How else can they reach out? What if people want to make a donation and help out your cause? How can they go about doing that?
they can contact us at jannie@mychoir.co.za, and we will send them all the necessary details. Jannie, Jannie, at mychoir.co.za, and my choir stands for Mzansi Youth Choir.
At mychoir.co.za. Okay, so Jannie, it's spelled Jannie at mychoir.co.za. That's correct. Excellent. Okay, I'll just put that in the chat for people that want to contact Jannie for any special requests to perform, perhaps anything like that, which you can do, of course, online like this. You have a studio there in South Africa. We don't have the whole choir there today. However, you do have some music there in the background, apparently, somewhere. So let us know when you're ready to roll with that, and we'd love to hear some of that in the background. I can't wait to see this choreography that you do as well.
Okay.
Sounds absolutely extraordinary. Any questions from anyone who's watching live? Thank you so much for joining us from all over the place here. Deborah says, awesome. What a privilege for the guys to be on your show. Thank you, Deborah. Well, it's a real privilege for me to have them on the show, actually. So it's a beautiful win-win scenario here, because I love doing inspiring interviews and sharing what's possible for people. You know, being someone myself who's had depression, I've had 4 friends take their own lives, and we've seen now through COVID there's been more suicides than before, as people listen to the negative mass media stories out there and believe everything they hear. I do say question everything that you hear in the mainstream media, having been a journalist for many years. Absolutely question everything. And also there's many ways that that we can share positivity and share good news at this time. And during COVID, I actually set up the Global Good News Challenge as well during this time to help share positivity and gratitude and good news, which is actually on right now. The 3-day March challenge is on now. People can start anytime between now and tomorrow. You can join in the Global Good News Challenge, which is a very simple online challenge where you just share your name, what you do, 3 things you're grateful for, and a piece of good news. So if you want to help share some good news, that's one way you can do it. And also with interviews like this, it's an absolute pleasure to interview you guys. Now, I just heard from production. They're saying that they don't have footage there. Can we hear the music, though, production team, by any chance? Is there a way we can at least hear some of the music maybe in the background? We'll see if they can bring that up there. Let's see, I don't know, I'm putting them on the spot here. If not, then just check it out online. There's plenty of videos online, but we'll just see if they can come up with something there. Any other questions, comments, anything else you guys would like to share?
Just one thing, we have with this wonderful production team that we have here, one of the things that we also do is if you have corporates in Australia who would like to have webinars or online conferences and so on, they use the green screen and they put up all that the companies want, and we can perform live for them in Australia.
That would be amazing. I'm sure there would be people that would love to do that, because, you know, I know that there's all sorts of conferences and events that have been happening online. And here we go.
Okay, it seems like they found the song.
There we go. I think this one.
There's no mountain too great. He lives in me. He lives in me. He
Alfred, what's in
You know, I choreographed billions of choreograms, so I won't remember what we did with the kids here. It's a thing of the spirit, you know. So there's so many moves that you do normally.
That's awesome. Well, there's only so far we can move on the screen here anyway online, but that's a little taste. Thank you so much, production team, Adrian and friends over there. Thank you so much for that little taste of the Mzansi Youth Choir. That sounded amazing. I'd love to hear more. And, of course, you cannot help but move to music like that, right? So you move your body one way or another. And the good thing is if you're listening to this at home, watching at home, then you don't have to worry about being in coordination with up to 23 other people, right? You can just move as you're at your leisure as you're watching at home, right? And you don't have to worry about your eyes all going the same way or your hands or whatever. It's extraordinary. I know it would be a lot of work to get everyone coordinated and to bring it all together. So congratulations to the two of you, Alfred and Jannie. Absolute pleasure to interview you today. I could keep chatting to you. I love chatting to you and hearing your stories. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us in the studio today. And thank you to all of our live viewers and everyone watching the recording of this. If you have any comments, questions, keep popping them in the comments and we'll come and have a look at that later. And now any final words from either of you, Alfred or Jannie, before we wrap up this interview?
Well, from my side, thank you so much, Aldwyn, and everybody on your side. We would love to visit you one day and share what we do with you as well. But thank you for the honor to be on your program today.
Yeah, and on my side, I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I feel like I'm in Australia. I've been to Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide, but I feel like that because you're bringing that spirit that I saw when I was there, and we will love to be there again, you know, and we're hoping that by the grace, we will be there. Thank you.
Hopefully by the grace. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure sending you love all the way here from the Gold Coast in Australia, all the way to Johannesburg in South Africa. Mwah. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Lynn, for lining it up. Thank you, Deborah, for the amazing work that you do as well. Thank you so much. And to the production and sound crew, thank you, thank you. Keep spreading that love. Check out Mzansi Youth Choir. Google them. You'll find them all over the place. Support them. And we look forward to hearing some of your songs and watching the dancing and celebrating life together. Thank you so much once again. Aldwyn Altuney signing out here now, Media Queen TV. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already to Media Queen TV. There's about 600 videos on there, lots of other inspiring content on there as well. So check it out online and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.